hosting anybody, if anyone's even actually streaming DDO besides us. I don't know nothing. I know nothing. I'm like Jon Snow in this matter. There's somebody. It's like an extra live stream and some people playing pen and paper. Sweet. Sweet. There we go, we're live. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to this evening's show. Hope you are having a good day. Alright. Let's take care of some business here. So, first of all, we're level 15, which means we should take a minute. There we go. I didn't hear that in-game noises. Steal your teleport. Ha ha ha. Anyway, so we're gonna take level 15. Well, we did take level 15, but we're gonna grab our level. Take care of some business. Should I get in Discord? I don't know. So mixed feelings on getting in Discord right now. We'll pull it up. We'll pull it up. We'll see. We'll see. Pull it up and we will see what's going on. Yeah, we'll jump in it for now. We'll jump in it for now. Then we'll take a look. Alright, so level 15 gear on this kind of funky build. It's a little bit strange. Yeah, I really don't even know what we want, to be honest. To the wiki. Which of the sets do we care about? I think we want to stay centered if we can help it. Wish these were 2 charts. Flame touched fiddle. Oh, from okay, so that's a oh, okay, that's cool. Some sort of fiddle, so you can make your dance. All right. Turncoat is an outfit from Sharon. Welcome. It's part of the family set. It's probably what we want. Just a turncoat set. So what else isn't part of the family? It's the Hammer Fist or the Raid. Hey Todd, welcome. So it's the Hammer Fist and the, is this a necklace? It is a necklace. Ugh. That's not good for us. Necklace is bad for us. Unless there happens to be a big enchantment item. ENCH. Yeah, there isn't. If we were to craft something, could we craft a big, like a trinket perhaps? We can get 6 at level 30. What can we get at level 15? 3? This is rough. This is really rough. So what's the description of spell focus mastery? Is that everything? Adds an equipment bonus to all your spells. Does not stack with a spell focus item. So we could craft +3 to everything. And I assume we can put an exceptional plus on here. Wow, I just see a spell power. I don't see an insightful. I don't see an insightful to spell DCs. Like, am I crazy? No, I don't think so. Yeah, so maybe that's not where we want to go, because I think we could get away with less action if we have a bigger... Like, really, I just want to increase our spell DCs. Losing the necklace for the spell DCs are pretty bad for us. Right? That's the one of the big problems. How about this? How about this set? So there's an outfit, and then that outfit gives us goggles, which is potency, which is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. Then the Aether Band, which is magical efficiency and spell penetration. That's not bad. So really, it's just the lenses that are kind of the poopy spot. And that's really only bad because we don't really cast the spells that do damage. Okay. Let's look at that. Warder's Garb. Dusk. Aether Band. And the lenses. I just switch this to eyes. Yeah, it's not this one. It's like the dusk lenses or something, right? Is that what's over here? Yeah, they are. So we put this on, what do we lose? We lose some mana here. But we're saving 5%. It's also our big wisdom item. So we lose a wisdom item, is that correct? But we gain a glove slot? Do I have 2 of those? I do. This one's a magical or a Reaper rating. And this one's just +3. So do I want... Huh, that's interesting. But otherwise, it's just kind of like medium here, huh? What we put in the glove slot. Like this. It seems bad. So, what we'd be giving up is 5% double strike and double shot, a sneak attack, armor bypass, and helpless to, or extra damage to helpless, in exchange for an extra +2 spell DC, 1 damage. Oh, sorry. We'd also be giving up 3 damage here. We're picking up 1 damage, 1 spell DC. 2 spell DCs. 3 spell DCs altogether. Maybe we just leave it alone. We'll leave it alone for right now and we'll see. So what else do we have at level 15 that matters? For going into Ravenloft. Suppose we should grab this arcane staff because we're gonna want it. Generally sooner than later. Sorry, we're not going to Ravenloft. We're going into Sharn. No, we're not even going to Sharn yet, are we? Back to Giant Hold. Back to Giant Hold. Wow. Yeah, Giant Hold we don't need to do anything, do we? So weird. This trinket is usually so good for us. Or her necklace is usually so good for us. It's just this weird enchantment. Everything being enchantment focused. I'm going to switch into a big old pile of hit points. Because right now this is our set. So we could put on some 15 boots. Yeah, I just don't know. It's so weird to not want to upgrade anything. God, is this just one of those weird builds that doesn't care? Doesn't care about the level 15 gear upgrade? That feels wrong, doesn't it? We've upgraded our hat at 14 too. Because right now this thing is what? Greater False Life, which is actively giving us all 30 hit points of it. Yeah, I can't imagine a situation now where I wonder if this is still 20. You guys have a, like, unslaughters, huh? You can unslot it and reslot it. Oh yeah, I have to log out and log back in because it's gone now. Sure. We'll be right back. We're gonna log out and log back in. Ba-da. Ba-ba-ba. So now it's 24 at level 12. I mean, it is a slight upgrade than what it was. So I can't complain about that. We would lose 6 hit points, pick up Deadly 6. We have Deadly somewhere? I don't think we have a Deadly anywhere. We have a Seeker. We have Seeker 6. I don't think we currently are rocking a Deadly. So maybe it's worth 6 hit points to pick up 6 more damage. Here, let's just check it. 1, had one that dropped that low. Just confirm that we didn't, in fact, have deadly anywhere. Alright, so now these boots are Exceptional Seeker 2. I suspect we could find something else in our boot slot inventory. With a little bit of thinking. At the worst situation, we can make up these hit points that we lost by putting in our green steel boots. At the very least. So let's go boots. Or at least feet. We have knife toe boots, which are armor piercing, quality seeker, mythic 3. Like, those are very good. Let's see. Our current dodge is 8. Do we have any... Does it tell us what our armor bypass is, by chance? Fortification bypass 19. So what happens if I put these on? 31% armor bypass? Is that... And our critical does go down 1. Because this was Exciteful Seeker 2. So we could stay at 19 and go to 16 dodge plus another 6. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't care about that one. You kind of care about this one though. Why can't I take this? I need 10 points in this tree. Gross. So did it take those changes? It did. So we can pick up... Okay, so this is 6 more dodge. Or we could take 1 less crit damage and a whole lot more armor piercing. As well as Thorn Guard. And 3 to the PRR. Yeah. Let's keep both for this minute. I don't think we need these. I think we can make something else that's just as good for us. Do I still have the CC planner up? Do not. So let's see. If I were to craft a different pair of boots, let's just pretend that I had a pair of boots somewhere. And I put big old pile of dodge in them. What else would I want to put for this build? Like, would we put diversion on them? That doesn't seem right. What's diversion now? Can't spell diversion. D-I-V-E. Reduces the threat generated. Yeah, I don't think I care about that. Parrying is good. But it's all just kind of medium. You can just make a big pair of dodge boots and then worry about the last power later. That would be 8 plus 3, so 11. 11 plus a current 8. So we're talking 19. Plus 6 would be 25. 25% dodge. Is 25% dodge better than armor piercing 30? It's close. I feel like it's close. What are some other boots? Pull this back up. Not boots. Boots, stone shoes seem bad. Shadow sprinters are speed, hide, move silently. Yeah, that seems bad. Yeah, that's it. Evasive boots of parrying. Dodge, parry. Isn't that like a bad version of this? Of what I had designed? Yeah, kinda. What if we made like dodge, insightful seeker, I have to assume we have sheltering hidden on something, right? Yeah, sheltering 14. This also has parrying 2, so parrying's not even like a big jump. One more parrying. Let's have slots. Doesn't. So I obviously bought these to just like craft and throw away. So what if I found like, what do we have for like crafting materials like down in the boots? In the old boots Rooney. In the blank factory here. We roll our silver roll too. Ooh. 500 experience is good. I don't know what I'm gonna do with some sun flasks, but whatevs. So much miscellaneous crud that probably just needs to be eaten by my sentient gem. Come on. No boots. I don't think we're gonna find boots. Real treasure trove of the defense guild. All the hair dyes. Oh, there's a pair of boots. The colorless slot. I feel like we can do better than a colorless slot. Maybe we can't. Maybe we can't do better than one colorless slot. Yeah, we found those. So strange. We just put hit points on and call it a day. I do really like these. They are 15 more hit points. They are crushing wave guard. Cold resistance. I can do better for what this build wants. Alright, let's just see what miscellaneous boots are on, shall we? Clothing, boots. A green slot of boots. An empty, colorless. An empty blue. An empty yellow. An empty green. These are called flowing. Flowing's alright. Lucky. Lucky's alright. Now I reached the part of the adventure where I just click or scroll up through it as quickly as possible. I'm not 100% sure I care that much. Oh. Silver Flame boots seem strong. That would be really good, actually. Thought I saw something with 2 slots. Spell Sight Sheltering. Insightful Seeker with a blue slot. Oh, these are level 18. Darn. It's like, man, those are pretty good. I think that's something that I'm kind of looking to put on. Yeah, neither of these are the silver. Alright, just go with like a cheap blue slot, or do I want a yellow? Probably a yellow. I feel like I use the yellow stuff more often. Sure, let's buy them. Then let's take a look at what we have in our yellow baggie for things. Topaz. Alright. So we can do fear immunity, I think is what I'm kind of looking for. We pick up some big wizardry, it looks like. Conjuration DC. I think we could grab the enchantment DC, but it won't stack with this other thing. Alas, we don't need Anthem. Yeah, I feel like fear immunity is kind of the one that we care about. Is there anything sweet in the DDO store now with the Topaz? Like, if it was me and I was going to redo stuff, I'd put cool stuff in the... Topaz is actually in with a Z. It does. So I'm tempted to just get fear immunity because I didn't have any. Death Block on somewhere? I mean, we're casting Death Block. I also have an extra yellow slot there, obviously. Yeah, I think I'm not going to screw around. I'm just going to grab another Fear Immunity gem and shove it in whatever I do. It's the worst. I hate being feared. It really is awkward. Alright, did we decide that we liked what we were doing over here? Dodge. Insightful Seeker to get that 3 Seeker back. Parrying is +1 right now. Picking up a guard is not the worst, I guess. And we pick up 1 parrying in this configuration. We pick up like a guard when they do hit us. We'll just take. I feel like that's the most likely thing to get reused. Get out of here, Green Steel Crafting Hall. Nobody loves you. It's like, I love you. Alright, so what do we decide? Let me pull this back up. This is how my brain works, by the way. It's like, goldfish. Goldfish brain. Goldfish brain level 1. Alright, 15. We know we need a level 15 shard. D. Dodge. I'm not going to insightful dodge on this one. We're going to insightful seeker. Getting a little low on them beetles again. I guess we'll do another parrying. Why not? It's cheap. If we don't like it, we can always just throw it in the old dumpster rootski there. Oh, 15, please. 15. Kenneth. And then we got Seeker. Dodge. We have a parrying. And then we'll pull out our. This goes like this. Immune to fear. Alright. So again, this takes us from an 8 to a 16 to a 22 dodge right now. Feels lower than it was earlier. I think we were going to get to 25. Where did 2 dodge go? Where did 2 dodge disappear to? Honestly, I have no idea where 2 dodge disappeared to. I guess it doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters today. Alright, so that covers our Seeker, our Deadly, our Strength, Stunning that we're not using, and a Trace of Madness if we really want to do something with it. I don't think so. And then I don't think we're upgrading everything else. I think everything else is probably still fine, which feels bad. Feels bad, man. All because we really want this necklace. It doesn't have to be this necklace, but we want this 5 to our enchantment bonus. I don't know why I went to the top deck. It is not where I parked my car. We're good. We have a couple of level 15 stabs in our TR cache that we can grab. today, I think, if I had not planned on doing more, or if I was not mostly done with my TR lives, I think I would craft a quarterstaff today. A green steel quarterstaff. Pardon me. Alright, so what do we need? Do I need this macabre quarterstaff? I don't think so. Do we need... We'll grab our construct breaker. Do we need the woohoo staff? Not really. It's really sad that the woohoo staff has been put in this position where it's at. The woohoo staff is strong. Afraid that's it. I'm afraid rip. Alright, so what are we doing for damage with this stick? 102, 100, 101. What are we doing with this stick? About the same numbers. We're getting a few more like Bane damages here because this is a dummy. Like all of our sticks are probably pretty close to the same. This one's a little bit less. And then this guy might even be the highest right now. God. Stupid elemental bloom. Seems real strong. Alright, let's go get some experience. Let's get this party started. Let's get moving again. If I remember correctly, we kind of finished up the walk-up section on the left side when we come in. So that's like, not Cabal for one, but Crucible and whatever the other one is over there. I forget what it's called. Yeah, we'll just go to Giant Hole. I'm gonna say, do I want to stop and go someplace else? But I don't think so. I think we can just get away with whatever hireling we happen to find. Which looks like a Durham anyway, so perfect. That's what we wanted. Alright, so we'll go do Trial and Maze. All this hate.
It still burns within all my kind.
Part of me is really tempted just to pull up the DDO cast from this week and play it. Did a Q&A. Patrick did a Q&A with the devs. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. That could be kind of interesting, putting that up in a second screen and letting that play for a little bit. Would not be opposed to that. Let's get back out of voice chat and yeah, let's do that for now. Don't necessarily wish to. Well, I won't be able to see the chat probably then. Not a fan of that. Maybe I can make something else happen. Alright. Okay. If I click that there, that'll work. And then think I have Screen 2 set up. Yeah. Unfortunately, well, for me to be able to see the chat, I'll have to leave the chat over here also, but I think that'll be okay. You make it just a little bit smaller. Small enough that people know what we're doing, but not so large that it takes over the screen. Let's give it a shot. Dun, 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 dun. Unfortunately, I can't see how well the audio is working this way either.
Welcome to DDoCast episode 618, recorded the week of November 6th. I'm your host, Patrick.
Just a little, I guess.
This week's screenshot, Night Realm celebrates the Night Revels and finds some seasons conterminous in this week's screenshot of the week.
I see the terror of our history
I love the Night
when
Revels
I look
sky.
upon this battlefield.
We like to talk about Dungeons
Giants
& Dragons online
have
nearly
done
every weekend.
great
You can catch us through
evil.
Twitch, YouTube, the
I
DDO
feel it in
forums,
my
iTunes,
gut.
or from our website at
I
DDoCast.com.
fear we will do
DDoCast is
evil
hosted by
again
Cybergears, the awesome
if
podcast
we
hosting
are
network.
not
Shows are
stopped.
usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be next weekend, and you can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDoCast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, we've got some game news to get through. I'm going to do it myself,
Turn
probably
that off
because I
for
want to
now.
get through it somewhat fast so we can get you to the main thing. We sat down with the devs this week for Ask the Devs, Fables of the Feywild edition. So after the news portion, you'll get to hear from several of the devs about Fables of the Feywild and a few other topics as well. We'll start with the game news, though. Fables of the Feywild did release this week. That's update 48. So we did get release notes, of course. There are the Fables of the Feywild is out. So there's 13 quests, a wilderness area, and a new public zone. The raid, we did talk about in the Ask the Devs, will be coming later. In heroics, these
Just
are
kinda
levels
trigger
5 and
this
6.
way.
And legendary, they're 32. So you can access the new Fables of the Feywild expansion by visiting the Hut from Beyond in the Stormreach Harbor. Early returns for me, I like it. The quests are not very linear, which I think fits really well for the Feywild just as a concept. So if you think about the last couple expansions we had with Sharn and Ravenloft, this is much more towards Ravenloft in terms of what the content, how the content progresses. Which I mean, the quests are not very linear. There's not Sharn. It tends to be pretty linear. Go here, do this.
That's
go
true.
here, do this. Ravenloft has a much more, Argynvost, Holt, Amber Temple, Castle Ravenloft. These places that you kind of explore and go to different areas, and what you're looking for may be in
The
a slightly
runaround is
different place
strong, is what Patrick's trying to say.
each time you run a quest. That's kind of more the appeal of Feywild. The aesthetic is pretty different and pretty as well. So I think people enjoy it. Notes, otherwise, male shifters now properly use fiddle animations from Bard songs. Bard swashbucklers' different attacks, no longer hesitant to only a single weapon fighting. It's nice. Favorite enemy Fae is now working correctly and can be selected by rangers as well. Since weakness has been fixed, so it provides its correct helpless damage, which is great because that's one of the best reasons to take that enhancement, that epic destiny. Let's see. A couple of legendary alchemical things are now working correctly and are the correct item again.
Stop again here at the door and smash.
The augment system has been revamped. So any augment that's not slotted into an item when you log in after the update will be updated to both work with the new augment system and get the updated effects if it has them. If an item has an empty augment slot when you log in, it will be updated to work as well. A distinction here, they have to be in your inventory. My understanding is that being in your bank doesn't work, or your reincarnation tab doesn't work. You'll need to log out and log in with them in your actual inventory. For time, that should be a lot easier to do. If you have an item that has an augment slotted into it, they won't update. You'll need to get a legacy augment on Slaughter, unslot them, and then log out and log back in. The script runs when you log in, so it has to be in the empty, not slotted state to have that script run on when you log
There's
out.
not a place that you could go and talk to update.
If you're wondering how to use the augments,
log out, log back
there's
in.
a button on your inventory page. It used to say legendary, or I believe it said like augment for a long time, and then they changed it to legendary green steel, and then it changed back. But that's where it is, and we'll actually cover some of that in the Masters Notes page as well. And of course, there's new items, new augments that you can find in the Feywild and empty soul vessels, which can do some fun things with great effort we talked about before. Monsters' twig blights are now vulnerable to fire. Yay! They're made of plant material, you know, them being vulnerable to fire and wood
Seems
burns
important.
makes sense. Some fire and cold resistance on plant monsters that was not supposed to be there has been removed, and several shambling mounds have now corrected vulnerabilities. If you're reading that and thinking to yourself, I bet there's some of these monsters in Fables of the Feywild, you would be correct. Let's see. Fables of the Feywild, players who own the Fables of the Feywild Collector's Edition will find their level 5 Feywild Musator or Hireling in your inventory when they log in. If you are an Ultimate purchaser, you will also get the level 30 Hireling and the Feywild Tuning Fork. The Feywild Tuning Fork will take you to the Huts and Beyond until you reach the public area for Fables of the Feywild. That is through the Explorer area. It's really easy to find. Just follow the road when you get in. And then you need to talk to the first quest or chain giver. The Tuning Fork will actually tell you the specific person, but they're just in to the left if you're looking for them. Several
movie,
fast
by the way,
creatures in the
Into the Wild.
Masterminds of Sharn will no longer drop empty treasure bags. Races. Razorclaw Shifter. Claw attacks now have a larger hitbox, matching Monk hand wrap hitbox sizes. Razorclaw Shifter males now animate properly when using Supreme Cleave or Sending Blow with hand wraps. Those are also timed properly for Razorclaw Shifter males. The first and second past life for Shifter feats now properly grant their bonuses. The iconic past life for Razorclaw Shifter. Razorclaw Shift now ability now grants dexterity as intended instead of Constitution. Mark and I actually talked about this last time. Kind of looking at the difference between the Razorclaw Shift and Barbarian Rage. Like, oh yeah, the Barbarian Rage gets Constitution, not Dexterity, and we like that better. And then we found out afterwards that it was actually giving Constitution, not Dexterity. That's been fixed now. Beast, Hide, Wild Hunt, and Razorclaw Shift now grant their passive ability score bonus as listed. Core ability score bonuses for Shifter and Razorclaw also now grant their listed bonuses.
Use my
Spells,
boost like I
Panacea,
should.
Close Wounds, and Heal, and Unyielding Sovereignty now clear bleed effects. That's pretty cool.
I need to get more than they have. It is a good change,
Dot
by the way.
effects that keep doing damage, and it's nice to be able to get rid of those.
Trim my
I really
nails
like
also.
that selection of spells. Really makes sense. And hey, if you don't know, Close Wounds, underrated spell. That one's great, especially with your favorite soul and have the SLA for that. Fantastic. Let's see, guild and guild officer
be
chat is now
poison,
being
but I
handled
still have
differently
poison
on the
going.
back end, which should be greatly improve how quickly guild chat is available after a world restart and how fast it recovers after a reconnection between game servers and chat servers. Text messages sent to general, advice, trade, party, guild officer, or player-created chat rooms will now be displayed to you after they go to the chat server and back. This means that if you are not connected to the chat server, it won't look like you're chatting with your guild, for example. That's really nice. I will say it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, though, because your name actually shows up. It used to just say, like, to party. Now it says your character name and then what you said. So it's going to be a little weird just because I'm so used to, if I see the link type name, that's someone else, not me. So it's going to take a little getting used to. Also, I'll have to remember what character I'm on because it's that character's name. So might get a little confusing there.
Cookie Crisp.
The launcher now has Remember Me 8 hours checkbox.
Don't do that.
We're gonna put a pin in that, or we're gonna come back to it.
Yeah.
Known issues. Augments are not currently recognizing their binding status when slotted into an item. Players should not expect to be able to trade items with augments in them that have a bound to account binding state, and this will be fixed in the next patch. I think it's actually been true for a while. That's not a new thing. But basically, if you put a bound to account augment into an item that's not bound, it should become bound to account while that augment is in there. That's not happening. And it will, so don't plan on it being a thing. There is currently not a saga for Fables of the Feywild, but they intend to debut a saga in the near future. So that'll be kind of nice.
That's cool.
The Shifter Wish of Memories. Some people have been asking, hey, there's no Shifter Wish of Memories. I'd like to use that to get my past lives, racial past lives instead. They did write that they expect in the same follow-up patch that will contain the Feywild saga. No strict timeline ready to announce, but should be in the next couple of weeks for both of those. And bugs. So remember when I said that we're going to put a pin in the Remember Me for 8 hours checkbox? They're looking... So checking that box for a number of people meant that it causes your settings to reset. And this actually happened to me as well. What that means is it's really just the audio settings and kind of pseudily the video settings. Although I think my video settings are kind of controlled much more than I would like by my video card. But it'll change some of your settings. It also clears your connection history, so when you look at the login screen, it says, hey, you logged into Kyber today, and these other servers yesterday. It clears all of that. It clears your username out of there. It does everything opposite of what you would expect Remember Me to do. It forgets you. Everyone is not having that experience, and they did turn that off for the time being while they look into that, which is interesting because it means that they can do that without bringing it without an update or anything. So that's kind of interesting. But that's what happened with the 8 hours.
So those kind of things
box.
should all be controlled via flags anyway.
So it's not working.
But I do believe I saw my check bar or my box.
The bonus days
still
this week are
physically
double
there for it to
mysterious
check
remnants.
the other day.
Through
Earlier today.
November 8th, so you get twice the number of, or twice the chance of remnants to appear when defeating champions. One of my favorite bonus days these days, besides XP boosts. Store news. So there was an update to the DDO market this week, which includes a page for customers to remove payment methods and a page for customers to see their transaction history. Both really good things, and I have to ask why they weren't included in the first place. Additionally, they have been working to address remaining payment questions and issues. Currently, most forms of currency can be accepted, and the most prominent payment methods, except for PaySafe, can be used. We expect to allow for PaySafe in the future. In the meantime, any players who experience purchasing issues can try one of several things on their own prior to contacting account support. The suggestions they have are to delete all cookies from your browser and try again. Try using a different web browser.
Double
disable
kill
any
effects is
browser
really good.
Add-ons.
I should
Make
probably
sure
put
pop-up
them
blockers
next
has
to
been
each other,
disabled.
actually.
If you're using a VPN, try it without. And make sure your PayPal account is verified if you're using PayPal. The sales for the week: improve your character, so it's 20% off of select stat and skill tomes. There's also off of the Arbor Agent enhancement tree. Still the only universal enhancer tree they put on sale. That's through November 12th. You can also get a Wand of Flame Arrow with the coupon code to fire it up.
Woo!
That is also through
A Wand of
November
Flame Arrow.
12th. We'll talk about community news. The 402nd Chronicle. This Saturday brings the Extra Life Game Day to DDO Stream. Find people streaming DDO and raising money for sick kids from 1 p.m. to midnight on Saturday on the DDO forums.
The Extra Life is kind
I
of cool.
will try to get this episode out before that, but it probably will be, as I said last week, I post the video on YouTube and then kind of tend to wait a little bit while it processes and gets up there and stuff, and also give it a little bit of a chance for people to listen to it and kind of send me red flags, say, hey, it don't work, it's broken, before I publish the whole thing. So probably this show will come out in the middle of that. But we did talk with Jerry as well about Extra Life. That will be after the Ask the Devs interview, so you can get more information about how you can participate in that. Strum Tom interviewed members of the DDO team about Feywild and more, so you can watch that video. Aldbar plays the DDO gallery game with Axel, so you can check out that video. It's a quiz of screenshots. I think trying to figure out where they are.
Grab more drink.
But that's kind of what's going on there. The comment: which emote is most needed in DDO?
Crotch grab.
You know,
Or finger guns.
That could be kind of fun. Possibly a little dangerous. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have a good answer for that this week. Fan site news. Got a shout out for D&D Night on DDO stream, starting a new adventure called The Oracle of War. That's this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/DDO stream.
That's another thing I could work on this today
new,
instead of streaming, is I could work on my D&D
show that I am
upcoming D&D campaign.
For.
It might start
Stormage Chronicles for a bit.
Around the
hope you come
end of the
check
month.
us out. You can also find it on YouTube after the fact,
but
or
we'll
Twitch
see.
after the fact as well.
Apparently the guys have been really
News
slow.
is getting ready to go to Feywild in their latest episode. We got a shout out for a review of Update 47 last week. DDO Stream is your first stop to find DDO on Twitch. This week, Alex and Lynn stream on Sundays. Barbed Life celebrates Halloween and Brighter Days Ahead tonight. Heads back to Sharn. Also on Twitch, Voodoo Spice enters the Feywild. Druid's Fire holds a Halloween marathon, and Laurel Lil Flower Sniffs. On YouTube, Sofa plays The Caverns of Shog. Tusk Reaper Gaming has an overview of DDO classes for the new player, and DEC Gaming doesn't run away. Let's see.
Sorry.
That will cover most of that stuff. Again, D&D Night on DDO stream, 7 p.m. Eastern, for our pen and paper virtual tabletop shows. We've got a bunch of different DMs. It's usually it's kind of a monthly rotating thing. So the first Sunday, second Sunday, they're all different shows. And I think we've got 3 kind of ongoing ones, one of which is the Oracle of War, so that will be starting this week. There's a couple that kind of get rotated in and out, a couple of bonusy type episodes as well. Especially with the holidays, you might see a rerun or 2, just because, hey, it's the holidays, we're with our families. And it gets a little tricky to get some of that scheduled, especially when Christmas is kind of near the weekend. That kind of makes those a little bit trickier to do. But we should have some content coming and some one-offs. I know Jerry's planning on doing some holiday-themed specials as well.
I feel like I should probably keep Durham up. Not always the best at dragging him around,
end the news portion of the show. So stay tuned for Ask the Devs.
The guts of the show has begun.
Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks to the devs for spending some time with me and answering some questions and some listener questions and that kind of stuff. Just talking about Fables of the Feywild and a few other things. Also, thanks to all of the contributors for DDO Cast, to Sandy Stone Games and Wizards of the Coast, and the Cyber Ears for hosting the podcast. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our website at docast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. If you have a DDO-themed webpage where you do Twitch DDO, and
we got
featured on our website, email us at ddocast@gmail.com. And you can hit us up at ddocast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff. If you'd like to be a part of the show, if you have a comment on this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, or a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, we just want to say hi.
Plague Reaper back
Leave a comment
there.
or email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media and follow us on Cast updates at ddocast on Twitter. If you want to ask a follow-up question to the devs, the forum post for this show is probably the best place to do that, unless you want to send them a direct message, which they may not answer both of those. But in any case, stay tuned for Ask the Devs, Fables of the Feywild.
Bird Bird, get that guy, please.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ask the Devs. We're really excited to bring this for you on DitoCast. It's always fun. We get to talk to the devs. So we'll just start by introducing folks. We've got Cordovan, the community manager.
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks for having us.
Severlin, the executive producer.
Hey everyone, good to be here.
That's the right name. Knockback.
Hi guys, excited to talk about the Feywild.
We have Linabelle.
Howdy.
And we have Torek.
Good evening.
Welcome. Thanks for taking some time out of your days to talk with us. I just wanted to start. It's like, hey, how's it going with SSG, you folks? It's been a year, and we still managed to get a massive expansion. So, how are you guys doing? How are things?
We made
Everybody
an
at once.
expansion in 2020, which I think is pretty impressive. So we're just sort of trying to unwind and appreciate that right now. On
Did
launch
feel like
day.
kind of like a hat trick or like, you know, a 3-point shot. Like we made it, but like a little touch and go there for a bit.
I'm really excited. I think I did a great job.
I guess, can I just say in context that we're recording this on the day this went live, so we're all kind of excited to really be able to see this all in the live world after all this development work. So if we sound a little excited, if we sound a little hyped for it, that's because we are. 'Cause this is launch day.
And if we sound a little tired, it's because
It's launch day.
cramming stuff into the game, yes.
And hey, you know, it's only one day late on the time frame that you gave in the pre-orders, so kudos. Let's talk about Feywild. What led you to developing and wanting to explore Feywild? What do you hope Feywild brings to DDO?
So a bunch of different reasons. One is it's one of the most iconic Dungeons and Dragons planes. It's the first thing listed in the Dungeon Master's Guide. We were looking at some polls. It's like one of the most popular planes. So those are a couple reasons. Another reason is it's a change of pace for DDO. You know, we did Gothic horror in Ravenloft and steampunk noir in Sharn, and we're now going to the land of fairy tales and telling stories about unicorns and mischievous and sinister satyrs and pixies, which, you know, might be something you see a lot in other MMOs, but it's not something you actually see that much of in DDO. So it's a change of pace both for the players and for us, the developers.
I want to add quick into
what-
this.
Anybody else?
I think that one of the things that we were trying to get through is not only do we want to produce a lighter-hearted, but we also want to show kind of the gravitas of the magnificence of that landscape. So if you look at the work put into the art of just the sheer spectacle of what you see when you go there, that was one of our goals. We thought that would be, if done well, that would be very impressive to the players to end up in a land that feels different. I mean, we all have our Alice in Wonderlands, we all have our Wizard of Oz's from
We'll say
childhood.
that
So if we
it
could
does
get,
look pretty
you know,
good.
even a fraction of kind of that feel by stepping through the gate and going into this place, we felt that it would be impactful for players and they would really enjoy it.
I just wanted to add quick that while we also do have, you know, sort of fairy tales in the Feywild and a great plane, we also talk about things like Grimm's fairy tales as well. So it's not all just, you know, rainbows and unicorns here.
Right, to quote the Dungeon Master's Guide, it's a land of soft lights and wonder, a place of music and death.
What was important for you guys to capture when you were designing Feywild for DDO?
one thing was the notion that, on the one hand, anything can happen. You'll see lots of things happen that you wouldn't necessarily come to mind. But because it is the realm of classic Fable, when they do happen, you're like, of course, I'm in the Feywild. That's the sort of thing I would expect to see. So it's both surprising and feels right at the same time, which I guess is what, place of wonder, in other words.
I particularly enjoyed. I worked on a quest called Make Believe, and I kind of enjoyed playing with the dynamic of the Fae, where they're these
It's not being
immortal
able to see
creatures.
the people on the camera.
They conduct themselves in this particular way. They have like these particular codes of conduct. It's how they entertain themselves. It's like time
Like
passes.
Jerry's voice I can pick out.
The whole
Maybe
fairy tale
Seven,
aspect, where
but
so many like metaphors and things are
not
symbolic, where they
100,000%
seem
sure.
trivial, but they represent greater concepts. Because these creatures give weight to those concepts because it's all a game to them. It was really fun to write some dialogue. We did a lot more skill checks in this pack because there's kind of social conflict with these creatures. They're just a really fun dynamic, I think, as NPC interaction.
One of the key concepts in the pack is the notion of the Fey bargain, where if you make a deal with a Fey, they will always keep their word, but while they'll keep their word, they won't necessarily keep it in quite the way you expected. So that plays a big part in both individual quests and the stories.
Just trying to shield block through that.
Did you have some things that were particularly, Torque kind of just mentioned this, do you have some things that were particularly fun to play with and kind of design in the Feywild?
I mean, I enjoyed, writing little encounters like it's an apple tree. You need the apple, and you can like talk to the tree because it's the Feywild, and you can flatter the tree into the dropping the apple. You can woo the tree with a performance check, or you can hit the tree, in which case mayhem ensues as you expect. It's we did something. One of the things I particularly liked that came out in Make Believe was this interaction you had with the Eladrin guard captain, who's this haughty, noble guard who kind of has you pegged as a troublemaker and is getting ready to fight you. And we put you in this dilemma where you can talk your way behind it, based off a d20 roll. And we've had these skill checks before, but I felt that one came off particularly poignant, where you actually care about that d20 roll. When you roll and you like flub that diplomacy check, you're like, oh man. And I felt that one particular dialogue kind of hit that. And that's a really hot like tabletop moment. It's like that roll hits the table and you're like, the encounter is going to change, is going to, veer left or right based on that roll.
Being the Feywild, you can have conversations with creatures and things you wouldn't normally talk to. And being knocked back, I was very pleased that I had an opportunity to have you talk to a door.
Not the first time, indeed.
Not the first time, right.
I was going to say you get to fight baked goods.
Yes, so there's a moment where the D&D monster manual intersects with fairy tales that was a lot of fun to put together.
Still no drinky.
Go ahead.
I have this profound regret we didn't make an effect called pie in your eye or something, or like splatter in face. Maybe we'll patch that in. But yeah, the pies were fun.
Aloni asks, are there any plans to add more Feywild content? Is this a place that we can expect to possibly visit again later? Kind of like we did
They're
with
just
Sharn.
going to tell me...
There was the Sharn expansion, and then there was the
Sure,
Sharn Docks.
there's no in DO.
Absolutely. So sometime in the next year, you'll see some more of the Feywild, and it will be a place we may visit again, and certainly you'll see some of those creatures again, because we have wide-ranging plans. Put it that way.
And Torque wants another excuse to get pie in your eye.
Among
Yeah, absolutely.
What can you tell us about the raid, including like maybe what players can expect in that, or kind of a timetable for when we might see that come out?
Timetable I can just talk about. It's not going to be immediate. We'll have more information on the timetable later, I think. It's in development. It's been announced this month after our release, which is today, as of the time we're recording this, we're releasing. So, it's in the future, but I don't know that we've set a formal date for that yet.
We haven't, but we're looking at early next year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be after the holidays, just to set people's expectations. Probably well after the holidays. It's not something that is going to be released in December.
Okay.
Yeah, Charles, you want to kind of get a little bit to the story of it?
I go too
Yeah,
far
so
back.
to set the scene, one of the major characters in the Feywild pack is Hirsum, the Prince of Satyrs, who is an archfey, a godlike figure who is a musician. And he wants to return the Feywild to its pristine state before the Eladrin showed up and before people started building palaces and structures and making courts. And the raid will deal with his attempt to do that. And it will also deal with his abilities as a sort of music god. Working, taking from there, I think.
So do you want to ask me if it's going to be as hard as Too Hot to Handle?
I feel like that was already answered by Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Okay, let me back up a second. I answered it, but I wasn't paying enough attention when I was answering it. So the answer is, my intention, correct me if I'm wrong, Cork, is it will not be as difficult as Too Hot to Handle.
yeah, I mean, since this is you are finishing effectively the story arc when you complete the quest. This is more of a, kind of a. It's like an extra.
It's more like Project Nemesis, where it deals with the same characters, or for that matter, the raid, the Forge Wraith raid in Chart, where you're resolving a plot line, but it's not necessarily the main plot line.
Yeah, it's like an extra follow-up chapter in the book. It's going to be an accessible raid. We might play with a hard optional, maybe something like you saw in Lord of Blades, where you can opt into it. But it's kind of like a bread and butter raid, mostly for fun and laughs, and death and Reaper, but Reaper's Reaper.
For the record, if the harder optional includes another raid chest, I vote yes. That's fine.
I would just like to add too about Charles' comment on the Archfey being godlike figures. Let's keep in mind that the people that are saying the Archfey are godlike figures are the Archfey. So, let's take that with a grain of salt of how cool it is.
Yeah, they're kind of pushovers, really. Like, I don't know if they're bad.
There's all types of gods in the world of PDO. Although, pedantic footnote, I don't think they are actually gods, but they don't grant spells to clerics. But
Yes, I believe that that's the case. You have to be
Warlocks.
You have to be a mage. Never mind, I won't use that term. But let's just say that you have to be a warlock to basically convince them to give you powers, and they're really not devote in the same way as priests.
Trying to think of how many gods we faced in the I can think of Loth and the Archfey guy, possibly, and then Lord of Blades, question mark?
He's technically a god, but in that weird Eberron way, so it's hard to say.
God who doesn't believe in gods, which then there's some people who are on the fringe of that. Lady Bull would be another, and Grazit, who is an archfiend, but not technically a god.
Speaking of Grazit, any plans on bringing him back?
We really want to bring Grazit back, and keep trying to fit him in, but and And I will say, if Torque and I have any say in it, he will be back, but I can't tell you when.
I fell in love with his Fiend Folio Chris-styled sword that drips acid, so that's a thumbs up in my book.
So I want to transition a little bit into the loot for Fables of the Feywild. And the place I'd like to start there is the loot suite for Fables of the Feywild has a very different philosophy than we saw with Sharn and Ravenloft. And it was like, maybe can you go into how you approached the loot suite and why you kind of went in that direction?
Sure. So our previous expansions focused a lot on me, working with the players and designing specific sets that would correspond to different, like segmented archetypes. In which, if you're a melee DPS, there's a melee DPS set that you'd like to use. For this, we kind of swung pretty hard in a different direction, in which we're split up into basically 3 different archetypes, with Spring and Summer kind of merging onto each other to both be like martial DPS, although one is a little bit more range focused, the other one's a little more melee focused. You can kind of pick and mix. So, whereas before, your set was essentially kind of designed, tailor-made for that archetype, this is much more of a take what you want kind of thing. The set bonuses themselves work differently. You're not trying to reach a milestone and then you get all of the benefits. For every piece that you equip, it will increase the magnitude of your set bonus. So you can take as many or as few of the items that you want. And that means, kind of just broadening out what's kind of
shooting me through the
available.
wall.
This helps us do a lot to target builds that may not have had gear specifically made for them, or like builds that have been underrepresented in our previous loot suites. And it lets us be a little bit more creative, I think, with how the individual items check out.
I think one of the things that you mentioned in the preview forums too was this idea that you'll find items in different sets for different kind of builds. So like the obvious one being casters. There's stuff for casters in each of the different sets.
Yes. That's actually part of why the bottom tiers of the set bonuses are all defensive. So you could theoretically speaking go, I'm a fire caster, so I'm really going to want this ring that's in summer that's all about fire casting. Is there another item in summer that I could use? So I get a 2-piece set bonuses for some of that MMR. And that would be an interesting choice that you could make. Or you could just get the one ring, or don't use the ring at all, or use the ring with a set bonus override. I think an important part of the split off into the 4 different seasons is that those lines are a little bit blurry, just like everything else is in the Feywild. Because if it's too structured, then I'm just kind of reinventing the same kind of loot expectations as before, but with a much more deeper pocket. And I think that players will really appreciate the soft incentive to try and diversify which sets that they're in. And worst case scenario, a little bit of extra defensive stuff if you're trying to get 1 or 2 items. I don't think it's the end of the world, and there certainly are more than enough items in each set to fulfill your needs if you're just looking to wear a whole bunch of items in fall, for example.
And then is this kind of an approach that you expect to take going forward more, or is this kind of something that, that was for this suite and the next suite, who knows?
Well, we'll see. A lot of my job is responding to feedback, even stuff that's not necessarily said out loud or to me on the forums, just trying to get the general vibe. And I mean, I'm certainly very confident. I think this is actually some of the best work that I've ever done, and I'm so happy.
We need to take a better, closer look at the heroic.
Honestly, if players aren't really vibing with it, that's okay, and we can try something else. We can modify things as is. That's one of the real benefits of working on this game is that nothing's really set in stone. We can try to find the best possible option. So I guess to answer your question, it's going to have to depend. If everybody hates this, I'm not going to do it again.
For the record, everyone's talking about this.
Oh, I've got some people have already started to figure out the secret thing, and they're putting the pieces together, and I'm really happy to see that happen. I'm very excited.
And that's the secret thing that you mentioned on Twitter, I think, right?
Allegedly, yes. The super secret feature that not even the Players' Council knows about, that I put a significant amount of tiers into, but it all came together. I only broke 1 item in place putting it together. That's really good for me. But yeah, hopefully everyone enjoys it.
And that is not to be confused with the secret thing that is the dull dagger. Which,
That is, I mean, players have gotten really close, and I'm really proud of them. I said it would be about a month from release until they figured it out. I don't know how long it's been, but I said no hints, and I'm not no hints. I'm not gonna get hints.
No hints.
Yes.
I know you're tempted. That's why I'm reminding you. Because you're so excited.
I hope people figure it out. It was really fun.
it does kind of harken back to the days of yore when there were puzzles on the forums occasionally and things like that players, there's a decent segment of players that really kind of like pulling into those things, so kind of figuring out the mystery.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for. I hope to try and encapsulate some of that mystery, because I saw there was a lot of chatter with the Dull Dagger, and that gave me a lot of confidence to move forward with the stuff that's in Feywild that I'm not talking about. So if you like that kind of, ooh, what's this actually do, then the Feywild has some interesting stuff for you.
Carpone asked, with so many weapon types in the game, how do you kind of choose which ones you want to support when designing loot for an update?
I will ask the Players' Council, or I will just look on the forums and see what people request. It's there are, I think at this point, 39 or 40, depending on how you count, like the disparate ones that are different on the back end, or but the same on the front end, like a scepter and a club are both the same thing. But it's almost entirely about what players are hungry for, and sometimes like making raid items, sometimes they fall flat, and then I'll just try again and try and make a better one. Like if I make a cool Kopesh and no one wants the Kopesh, I can just make another Kopesh. But we try to keep a pretty even spread, and also it's about sometimes it's about art. Like I'll request art in advance if I have a really good idea.
So the other big thing that came with Feywild is the augment revamp, which has been something that players have been asking for and looking forward to. This has been a conversation ongoing at SSG. We're going to do an augment revamp for a while. What happened? Why was it now? And what are you excited about with it?
So to put a feather in a cap, Lunabelle finally came up with a great way to do the versioning of current items, and that our previous sort of strategy for doing that was to version people as they logged in rather than have a simpler and more clever way of doing that. So once Lunabelle kind of figured out and said, hey, you know what? I think I can version the items in place. It was like, oh my God, that would, if you've come up with a clever way of doing that doesn't require a giant versioning patch, that would be awesome. And so once that sort of logical leap happened, the creation of new augments is great for everyone. The players get new augments, it's much easier for us to make new augments, and the new augment system doesn't require us to make tons of recipes, because recipes are heavy on the server. The other thing is that the green steel augment system was always created sort of like with the thought of having that used for augments. So in the background, some of that was already in place that we could use and smooth out and make into an augment system that I think that the players would be very happy with.
Yeah, I was, not that I'm not confident about our ability to execute upon this, but it was like it was a really complicated multi-part. Like we had to shift the whole system over, move everybody's augments over, and I was kind of dreading the launch because I was thinking to myself, like, if this explodes, it's going to be terrible. But it worked out, and it's a little clunky. Players like the items have to be in a place in which the system can like go do the code when they log out and log back in. But over time, the amount of old augments, old slots in the system is going to go down as players log in and convert their stuff until eventually there aren't any old augments left. And you can leave your old augments slotted in if you don't care, you don't want new augments. That's actually totally fine. You just leave them in there. Yeah. But if you want to, like, the new system is cool, it's color coded, it's so much easier to use. We can build cooler augments on a much lower table. Like before, they were like just a real they were really complicated to make and potentially pretty dangerous. It's like 9 or 10 effects per thing, and the actual slotting and unslotting part. By the time I kind of defanged it, we were up to 2,271 distinct recipes that made up the augment system. So now it's much less complicated on our end, and we can deliver just so much cooler stuff.
Also, we've only been live for hours, so when we say it seems to have gone well, everybody behind the scenes are knocking on wood.
Yes.
Just to make that clear. Like, it's like, okay, let's not get cocky yet. You know, there's still a lot of runway ahead of us.
I'm just waiting for someone to figure out that if you log in exactly 6 times before the next patch, then everybody's augments explode. Like it's something so silly and narrow that we missed.
I was just gonna say though, I think we went from a really big cookbook to a microwave.
All right, I think I'm gonna take a fast break and use the restroom here.
Well, I like microwaves. They don't have 22,071 moving parts or
Don't think there's a
2,270
bunch of
moving
people
parts.
hanging out with us. But just in case, I'm gonna go ahead and pause, run a 30-second break. Go ahead and grab a drink,
Now
use the
you're making me
restroom,
hungry.
stuff like that. I'll be right back, everybody.
Yeah, it's a bit.
All right. Sorry for the pause. Really needed to empty so I have room to put more in so I can empty it later. Humans are so weird. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah. Good morning, Alpha Flyer. Are you enjoying the DDO cast episode? I hope so. Hope people are enjoying a little bit of DDO and a little bit of DDO cast. I don't always I don't always do this, but I want to try to get in the habit of getting through DDO cast every week, listening to it, trying to be caught up. I want to spend more time at some point, I don't know when, working on spending more times on the forums doing stuff, just looking around. I'm not always the best at doing that though. Just dropping in, sweet. Well, I'm going to continue leveling. If you have anything you want to say, I am monitoring chat. I'm happy to pause chat and or pause the thing and have a conversation about something, if you so desire. Otherwise, let's get back to it.
Yeah, it's dinner time right now.
So can you kind of briefly kind of let players know what to expect if they haven't logged in, like what's going to happen to get them to move over to the new system?
Sure. So step one, this is the easiest part. All of your augments that are not slotted in anything, like if they're an augment bag or in your crafting storage, those have just automatically, without any interference, those just bloopy blop, now they're a new augment, so you don't have to worry about those. If you have an item with empty slots in it, so there's no augments in this particular slot, you're going to have to, at some point, log in with that item in your inventory. And when you log in, the code will run, it will hide the augment slot, like the effect, and will add the actual augment to the item itself. So if you pull things out of your bank, you have to log in and log out, or log out and log back in again. But it's not like one log in and log out for every time. You just have to, at some point, log in with the item.
Just run around everywhere all the time.
And you'll get like the little line of text at the item inventory, like the hover over. If you have an augment that's currently slotted in something, this is what's known as a legacy augment, and you're going to need a legacy augment unslaughter to remove it. So your current unslaughters, no matter where they are, now they only work with new augments. With the new augment panel and the new augment drag and drop system rather than the double click, those are just the bloopy blop over to the new system. You're going to need a new thing, a legacy augment unslaughter, and you can find those in the marketplace and in the House Cannith crafting hall. I think actually every crafting hall. They're available for I think one copper or maybe 2 coppers. So they're very, very cheap. It's basically the cheapest we could ever make an item, because we don't want to charge you in-game money to just go over to the new system. So just buy a whole bunch of stack of those if you want to transfer everything over. And it works like an old augment unslaughter that you're used to. You double click it and you drag your item in, and it will remove the augment safely as if you had used an unslaughter. And then once the augment is out, behind the scenes it's ready. Like it's like, it looks like the augment's gone. It's not. You have to log out and log back in again. So you can just unslot all of your augments if that's what you want to do. Log out, log back in. It'll be in the tooltips.
I still think there should be a person to just go talk to.
Like from now on, items are just going to drop with the new stuff. You don't have to worry about logging out and logging in when you pull them in from treasure or something. They automatically work. But your old stuff, you do have to run through that code. But ideally, this is about as harmless as we can make it, and hopefully, if there's any problems, please let us know, because we would really like to know if something were wrong.
So let me just kind of add, though, why someone might actually want to go through a process of unslotting some of these augments, and that is because, say, some of the stats on what some of the skill augments, things like that, are going to be updating to the new Cannith crafting system numbers that would be in place.
Yes, a big and immediate benefit to unslotting your augments and then using the new system to put them back in is that the values on almost every single augment have significantly increased. So some of the things didn't shake out that way, just like fortification augments are exactly the same, resistance augments are exactly the same. I didn't take anything and make the numbers lower. They're either better or they're exactly the same. So don't worry that you're going to be losing anything if you go through this. It's going to be totally fine. But the augments that do get changed, they're going to be bumped up to Cannith crafting levels. So for example, at level 20, that's a resistance +8 item. So your old resistance +5 augment that's currently slotted, you take it out, now it's resistance +8, put it back in, that's +8 to all your saves.
And just because I know a lot of players have really kind of keyed in on it, the DC augments that give you a plus to your spellcasting DCs.
Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. I did the tooltip wrong. The actual effect is exactly the same, but I swapped over the tooltip and then I didn't swap it back. That should be fixed in an upcoming patch. It's actually applying the exact same effect that it was before. Like, effect, transmutation, augment, exactly the same. Don't worry that one's changing. That was a typo on my part. I'm putting it right back. It should be exactly the same.
Now I want to talk about the Soulforged augments. Some of them have set bonuses applied in it. I know there's a little bit of confusion with the set bonuses and how those work. Can you give us a little explanation on that?
Sure. So Soulforged augments are when you take a raiding item and turn it into an augment. The set augment crafting is specifically the set bonus stuff. And basically you take an item that is part of a set in Ravenloft or Sharn, and you can boil that down to an augment that will override whatever it's slotted into that set. So say you've got a really cool piece of raid loot, but it's not actually part of a set bonus, and you're kind of weighing the pros and cons of wearing an item that doesn't correspond to a set. These augments can add a set bonus. It's a colorless augment, you slot it right in, and it will add or replace the set bonus with a new one. And if you have 3 of the same augments across 3 pieces of gear, you get that set bonus. So they're not as strong as, for example, a Sharn main set or wearing like a 3-piece like Feywild set, but they're not powerful. I'll say that. These can fill very important missing pieces of statistics, offering a pretty significant advantage. But like they're set bonus overrides.
And by that you mean that if you put one of these augments in an item that already has a set, it will suppress that set.
Correct. And if you manage to put 2 set bonus augments in, the last slotted will apply. You can't cheese this system. This is a set bonus override, and the last applied is what counts.
You do realize you just encouraged a whole bunch of players to try to cheese the system to prove you wrong, right?
If they can somehow fit 2 amp values into one ID set bonus loan property, I will be astounded. I'll be very impressed. I'll let them keep it. That sounds great.
You are not promising that. Sorry. Let me step in as the formal community manager and say, maybe not on that one.
We are fully confident that the players are clever enough to find multiple ways of trying to break the system, and we really don't want to encourage any of that.
So one of the things that I think came up while we were kind of looking at items on Lemania and in preview,
it's not a big deal because
some of these, if you want to get like some of these set bonuses,
oh well, one, this guy just never came over.
You need 3 raid items.
But 2, we just have to wait for our screen to come back off timer.
Who do you expect to take advantage of that, and what's kind of your expectation there?
Well, it's people that raid, people that really want every edge they can get on their character, and they're able to go into raids every few days with their friends. And if they can, grind out the item with runes or just get really lucky. But this is intended to add a lot of long-term longevity to raids that may not normally be in a raid rotation. Like these are incredibly powerful, like high-level augments that are meant to be a carrot on a very, very, very long stick. I know there's a lot of talk about how the accessibility of stuff like this, and specifically about how this has changed the dynamic of players passing items. That being said, if we've got 2 options here: is either raid items are undesirable and players will put them up for roll, or raid items are desirable and they won't put them up for roll. And we obviously want things to be desirable, right? Not everyone's going to want every single set.
Okay. Celeron wants to know if you can choose an item effect from an old item to convert into an augment. Do you have anything that you're kind of looking at maybe for that?
I already did that. That's yes, I had 13 ideas actually that are done.
Yeah, that's a clever way of trying to get future information about what loot direction we may want to take. Oh yeah, if you could make any loot items into it, which is nice. I appreciate the players trying to get us to commit to making new loot items, but I don't know that we want to bite on that. It was good though.
The only one I was told not to do is the lightning bolt ward from the Titan raid. That one I was told don't do. So that's your answer, not that. Any other item is fair game with that one.
Actually, I was wondering, this was a long while ago, but Devil's Assault dropped some special augments, and I think I actually have a couple of them still left, but they got phased out, that were on a timer.
Oh god, never again.
Yeah.
Alright, so let me pull this back up for a second, read this question a little bit more appropriately. Why did I... Last time I talked, you were VIP or free to play, and now you are VIP. So any wisdom I can toss your way. Yeah, just the main thing is play to goals, right? Kind of look around, see what goals are interesting to you. Is it like have a big arsenal of characters at many different points in the game to do different things, say like different roles at raiding or whatever. Kind of pick your goals and then be flexible with them and realize that you're not going to necessarily be able to time them out in any particular direction. Specifically as to being a VIP, the main thing to keep in mind that's way different from being a free-to-play character or a free-to-play player, the characters can do stuff on harder difficulties right away. So I do a lot of stuff once, like on Reaper 1 or Elite, and I'm done, right? So I get the maximum favor out of it I can get. I get the highest possible loot drop for a lot of the things that I'm interested in, and I kind of move on. That doesn't mean that's always the best way to go to get like the most experience out of a particular thing in the quickest amount of time. So like sometimes the first time you do a quest, you'll do it on a particular difficulty, and then maybe you'll turn around and do it on, say like maybe you do Elite, then you do some, like a bunch of Elites, because then if you walk it down and you do a hard after that, you'll get the first time bonus for hard, and it'll kind of give you like a one-time reset on the quest, and then you could do it again on normal. You would have to really love that quest, in my opinion, to do that, but one could do something like that if you really liked a quest or really wanted to maximize the experience out of a particular quest. There's a lot of people who just do things like walk it down. So you just do like hard, epic or elite, hard, normal, and you're done. You walked it down. The other big thing that comes to mind is you're going to start getting your bonus 500 points every month on the anniversary of your subscription date. If you did a 1 month, if you did then you probably already got it and you're done. If you did like a 3 month, whatever day that you subscribe, you're going to get those points on that anniversary. So keep a rough idea of when you're going to get those points in mind, so you can use those points to buy some of the things that you may or may not be otherwise thinking about. So you can right now you have all the races, right, and the classes, but maybe you're not planning on staying VIP, but it's a good way to put points away for when you do get it. Or because Thanksgiving is coming up around the corner, they usually have Black Friday sales. Like, races are usually very popular that week, classes are often very popular that week. Setting yourself up to become free to play post VIP could also be a thing that you're interested in doing. I don't know. So for me, those are the main things that you kind of want to think about when it comes to being a VIP.
A chill went up down my spine when you said Devil Assault. I was like, oh.
So I should throw those away. Stop.
I didn't see those when I was doing my.
They got phased out with the last augment revamp, I think.
Yep.
Okay, well, if you still have some, I just don't even slot them. They probably won't work. Don't risk it.
They are a museum antiquity at this point. Frame them in your character bank or something.
I'll take a screenshot and send it to Linabelle.
Yes, I vaguely remember that these existed.
Stoner81 asks, why did you choose to have augments match Kenneth crafting? And did you explore any ideas of having it be more of a scaling effect as opposed to an augment per level effect?
So this goes back to what Seth was talking about, the way we could swap augments over as far as like not using our versioning system is concerned. Our versioning system is really, really cool, but the magnitude of work we'd have to do in order to actually change what each augment did without using the method that I devised would be pretty hard. And we would have to iteratively delete everyone's items, augments at every single level except for the one that we wanted, and then we could build a thing, which is a tremendously risky, like behind-the-scenes work, and it's also not really what our designs wanted. Our goal here wasn't really to change anything fundamental about how players, slot augments. Like they go on their level intervals that they were before. Our goal was to change their numerical scaling, and then from there change players' attitudes about how they slotted augments. So we chose the Kenneth crafting scale. We did discuss internally like a lesser value that still didn't stack, and we came to the conclusion that's kind of where we are now to a greater degree, and players just aren't enthusiastic. Like the right now our augments stock at level 28, so no matter what we did at level 30 play, they're always going to be below the level 29 items anyway. And it shouldn't really make any sense to make them even worse than the worse they already were.
Give them that.
Anything else you want to say about augments before we move on? It was kind of a big project for you.
I mean, so far at 5:51 p.m. launch day, it seems to be going pretty well. So I'm very confident. I'm sure that will change.
Can we just do a real quick 101 primer for those who are like, sounds great, how do I do this thing? It's on the character sheet.
What?
I was saying in terms of like how to actually access that augment panel.
Oh, the augment panel is in the inventory panel. It's what the Legendary Green Steel button used to be, and then I finally figured out how to rename it to Legendary Green Steel from Augment, and then the next update I had to change it back. It is the augment panel after all.
Yeah. So you don't double click on them anymore and get with a barter box. You open a panel into it. The other thing about augments is now that it's been redone so we can actually make augments, we're hoping that the augment system allows players to be able to swap in a couple of items and be able to swap their augments around in order to fill in the holes, because the gear Tetris, and by that I mean the ability to use different pieces of gear to make the perfect suit, is already, is already something that the players research. So when we put in a couple of new items.
Oh. Thank you, Martin Ethel? Hopefully that's close enough.
One of the things that the players come back with is, I like this item, but I don't know that I want to completely refactor my suit. If we have augments and that we can actually upgrade, then it'll be easier for you to take an item out and then put a new item in that might be better.
Welcome
and
to the
one
USS
thing that
Halfling.
the old item was doing that you really need, you can get augments for. And I think that will be a good thing in the long term when we're designing loot and the players are hunting down new items.
The next thing I'd like to talk about is the level cap increase that's been it was initially going to be part of Fables of the Feywild, and that got pushed. So kind of have two questions, and a lot of listeners were kind of asking about this. One is, why was it postponed? And two, why does the team feel like we need that, and what do you hope to accomplish with a level increase?
As far as why it was postponed, I think we've said this a whole bunch of other times, but things like this, that would require a lot of work and a lot of planning, a lot of testing, a lot of iteration. They take a lot of time, and they take a lot of time if you really want to do them right. So we had a series of plans together that went through a lot of different internal reviews, and then we were looking at the dates of Feywild, and we went, well, we could do this, but instead, we're going to try our best to make Feywild the best that it can be. Because we can push this out and put all of our efforts into making Feywild just super awesome and super kick-ass, and we can handle the level cap increase later. Because our plans haven't gotten worse, we can still pick them back up, and we made some pretty significant headway.
I mean, honestly, I think that we have such experienced devs that we know the cost of rushing things, and the more important something is, the higher the cost of trying to rush it. So when we were looking at the schedule and realized that all of that work would be rushed for Feywild, we just didn't feel that that was in the best interest of our players. In the long term, we think that making character progress is something that players like doing, and classically and iconically, increasing levels is the best and most intuitive way of making progress, even beyond the loot, even beyond the augments and various different ways. Going up levels is something that is just fun for people, and so we are exploring ways of presenting that to the players in a way that will be super awesome for them and not feel punitive. So in order to do that, we don't want to rush it. We want to make sure that everybody likes leveling and they don't feel that their current characters or their current reincarnation loops are unduly
There are several hits there that
by that.
I don't
you should
think
be able to play the
registered.
game
I'm
as it is now
not
and
really sure
reincarnate
why.
as it is now without worrying that the new levels that we might add will cause problems for you. And so to do that right will take a lot of design and iteration. So we didn't want to push it out with Feywild because we didn't feel we had the time to do it.
One of the benefits of working on a game like DDO is that we have a lot of history to look back on, and we have a retrospect view that not every project has. And we can look back over times we've done level cap increases or game-wide modifications in the past and say, with the benefit of hindsight, what worked and what didn't work. And from our examinations, I think that we on the team have a really good, solid idea of the highs and the
Like how
lows.
this book's
and something like that.
pre-exploded
We can
now?
avoid some of the obvious pitfalls, and we can look back and say, well, this seemed like a great idea at the time, but now that we know, we can do an even better job. So, honestly, I'm really confident in our plans.
Until we don't.
Yeah, so there.
Right?
Ideally, we can minimize.
So, just bring
That's,
that.
Made
that's
a
like
Reaper
really
Man.
development as a whole is trying to minimize the amount of winging it.
Is there anything you can tell us about the upcoming Epic Destiny pass?
I don't think we can really want to go into detail about that today because it's somewhat tied to a bunch of other kind of development plans we have. I mean, we did do some work on Epic Destinies in recent updates, and you can check the release notes for that. And I just don't think we're in a position to talk about our future plans for that.
One of the things, honestly, the reason is that we're all in on Feywild right now. The augment changes, the improvements, and so I think that we're most excited to talk about that only because it just came out. I don't know that we want to talk about stuff that isn't in that because I think that's where the players' minds are going to be, where we want to, where we're super excited about too. It's hard to focus on those future plans when you just release something and we're all eager to see how players react.
Also, once you start providing some level of hints of details of what you could do, just to some extent you're setting an expectation about what you actually will be doing down the road. And as I think Linabelle adequately put it just a little bit ago, that we want to leave some design space open to do the right thing here.
Yeah.
I did want to ask a little bit about Hardcore Season 3 and Season 4. Hardcore Season 3 wrapped up about a month ago, and it had the new Extra Life rule change. What do you think? I'm just kind of curious. How did SSG feel that that mechanic worked, and what were some of the cool things that you saw because of that?
So I'm trying to think back. It feels so long ago because I remember we were. This was the first hardcore season. Correct me if I'm wrong, where we allowed non-VIPs in, right?
Correct.
Right. So that we wanted to, it was that decision plus a combination of we want every season to be different. We want to play with different dynamics, and we were looking at making something a hardcore season that was more accessible. We wanted to kind of explore that. So we originally, when we thought of hardcore, we actually always kind of it was actually developed with extra lives in mind. There was a period we almost thought we might launch it with 3 lives as opposed to just 1 life to live, and we just kind of decided that if we were going to do 1 life to live, we'd rather start there rather than. But as we kind of iterated through it, and we took feedback, people actually missed the hair-raising experience of death when we just gave you 3 lives at the start. So we ended up settling on you having to earn lives. So you're kind of until you get to level 8, you still have to really watch yourself, and then you earn yourself a respite. But if you get killed before you get to level 15, you're back on 1 life to live. So that's just kind of the medium point we settled on. I don't know if the next hardcore season will have extra lives or not. We're still kind of collecting feedback.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to have some hardcore seasons that are one and done and harsher. So this isn't the new way hardcore is being done at all. But we'll experiment with different things so people feel like the hardcore experience changes when they do it, so it's more interesting as they go in, because it's different over time.
Look at Durham. Look how much damage Durham took in that half a dozen seconds.
They weren't willing to try with only 1 life, like the Shroud and a couple other raids.
Yeah, when we were working on it, we were like, they're gonna beat the Shroud. They're totally gonna do it because of this extra life.
Absolutely.
Do you have any updates on when we might see season 4, or is that still kind of one of those things that's not yet really thought about because of Feywild?
Well, we've thought about it. We've thought about it, and we've announced just recently, I believe, that it's not going to be on the same cadence that we did hardcore seasons 1, 2, and 3. We're going to take a little break. I'm going to guess that pushes it. We're already in November here, right? So we're probably looking at early next year, right? Something like that, maybe.
Yeah. We certainly don't want to try to start one during the holidays, where players are both playing Feywild and doing the holiday festivals and such. So it'll probably be earlier next year for the next one.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm still got my fingers crossed that this hardcore season 2 champions make it into the real world.
Oh yeah, the new champions. I kind of like that they were new champions in hardcore, because it changes up. You go to hardcore and it immediately feels different. There are differences that are outside. I kind of like that one of our old villains is the one that's setting. I guess this is the Celestial one though. So yeah, we'll continue doing small stuff, Easter eggs, changing mechanics in order to make the hardcore seasons feel a little bit different. At some point though, we're going to reach a point where we're going to cycle back and bring on an encore of old ones in case people like them. So that will happen as well.
The new champions almost killed me the first time I ran into him, because I got so focused on, oh, this is a new champion. What does it do? Someone was like, hey, your health is almost gone. Where are you? Oh, yeah, back to staying alive.
That was a fun batch to work on. I like the minus touch guy that can turn you to gold.
That was cool until I realized there was a dot associated with it, and I didn't want to die. It was a particularly evil dev touch.
Does that thing actually do damage? I thought the dot was more or less there just to let you know. I know it does damage, but I don't remember how hard it hit, because it was mostly there to let you know that you were about to turn to gold. But it was sort of like a dual functionality.
I don't remember it being that deadly, but when you have 1 life to live and you're incapacitated, you can't do anything, and you're taking damage, everything seems big.
Yeah, that's true. Even the softballs on hardcore, every now and then, one crit.
Everything is exaggerated when you're you're one death away from losing the character.
I'm spending more time now looking
So a
through
couple
gear
of
than I
things
have in
that
the
some of
past.
the players wrote
Just
in.
looking for things with
Carpone asks,
slots,
how do you
multiple
choose
slots.
what bugs get fixed?
Oh wow, that's actually we should save that discussion for maybe a future time. That's a big discussion. That could be a whole show. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure there's been that show on DDOcast. But we would want to probably have some people who will more directly work for QA here to help answer that question. I mean, I could give you an answer based on kind of what they do, but that sounds like something that would maybe be a wider discussion. Maybe we should save it for that.
Yeah, there's a whole ranking system essentially, and we do passes through and grab things that are ranking. The other issue is that some get fixed because people are in that space, and so they fix them while they're there. So there's a number of factors.
Ah!
I'm sure there's probably also a factor of a particular dev runs into a bug that they suddenly becomes their nemesis and must be defeated at all costs.
Well,
A lot of bug fixing happens because of the first hardware scale. But we all
And a ton of it is prioritized based on when you see that as well.
One of the things that came up when I asked players for questions was recently there's been a lot of issues with the chat server and staying connected, zoning into different areas is going to be a little bit. I know there's some updates in.
I apologize for people who are really listening to the cast. I know this part of the quest gets a little loud. I'll try turning the music down in a second.
a lot of the chat issues had to do with back-end optimizations that we were doing. So what the players didn't see is that we're trying to improve our back-end system, and my tech ops team did a tremendous amount of work to do that, and engineering had to support
It's fine
that.
with you.
All of our storage systems for our character
I just
data
wanted to.
have been moved
I want to be able
over.
to hear both.
And that happened pretty transparently.
And if I can't
but,
hear it, then
doing that was a lot of work, and a couple
you
of
guys
the
certainly
servers
can't hear it.
didn't have had a missing index, which was causing searches on that to take up much longer, and so that caused that.
But I don't think we got that much longer left. I think it's less than 10 minutes.
The other issue is there were ongoing structural problems that splashed into DDO and affected the performance a little bit that were passed. So right now we're running, and any issues and lag players are running into are either population based or good old fashioned like actual code issues, whereas before it really wasn't that. Unless there's some other thing, knock on wood, that we run across with that.
Apocalypse would like to know if there's any plans to upgrade summons. They seem a little underpowered these days.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem is that we don't want to haphazardly do summons. We want to. When we do summons,
I just want to make sure that I
do it
didn't
as a
break the
system
game somehow.
so that they all get updated in a manner that's sustainable. So it's a big task. We don't want to just upgrade a couple summons and leave the rest of them undone. And we don't want to do it so that we can't easily modify it in the background. So we're kind of waiting for a time to address that as a
Alright, something's hitting us pretty bad.
This sounds very similar to us talking less than a year ago about the augment system, saying, well, it's a big thing, and we can't just do a little bit of it, we're going to have to do the whole thing at once. And, it turned out really well for augments, so hopefully.
I mean, summoning is classic. The other problem with summoning that you have to be careful of is that if there's too much summoning, it causes more pathing, and pathing is expensive to the server. So unless we had, like, one of the things we were talking about is having a less expensive pathing for mindless creatures where they aren't quite as smart about running around after you. And if we did that, and you could summon mindless skeletons that would kind of not really find their way to people, it would be much cheaper, and you could make a necromancer type of tree or something. And so that is also a possibility in terms of like making a summoning type archetype as a character or a tree or a class, or update some of the summoning. Right now, if we had someone who was constantly summoning and it was efficient, then overall, all of the extra pathing is probably not something that we want to encourage, to be honest.
Solo Grub would like to know if there's any updates on filling out the open guild airship amenity slots.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we were just talking about one of the things that we want to look at.
So I'm trying to always keep in mind
give cool
where we
stuff
want to
skills.
put
So I don't
our
have
strike
much
through
more to say.
possibilities.
But in the future, that's something that is on our radar or something we'd like to do.
Probably not involving guild reincarnation. I remember that came up earlier this year at PAX East or something like that.
Yeah, a player suggested it, and I was amused with it, and then all of the players assumed that we were going to immediately
Right.
do it.
It was my favorite part of that interview, though. Mostly because of your coworker's response of "Oh no."
That's what I was thinking.
Having the guild have goals together is really cool. As long as players, it gives them a reason to get together on a night. And honestly, one of the things we like about DDO is, unlike other games, there is an awful lot of DDO play that our friends get together weekly and do dungeons. It's kind of one of the issues that our looking for group panel doesn't always fill out, because there's a lot of people on, but they play with their friends weekly, kind of like a normal D&D session that you would do for tabletop or over Zoom or whatever. So doing guild stuff is great because it encourages like a whole bunch of guild play. As the guild
one of the things I want to
getting
do here,
together with other guild
I think
members,
the bird did it.
we want to encourage.
Okay, he ran
It's
off.
not necessarily
So I wanna
the
flag that guy,
reincarnation-ish part
an
of
arrow,
it.
but
It's
apparently
just
I
that like an
missed.
evergreen system where guilds are rewarded for playing together is something that I think would be good for the guilds in our game to be able to do.
Just as an aside about DO development overall, we have enough excellent ideas of things to do to last us for another dozen years. You know, we have no shortage of things. So we have this massive list, and things bubble up or down depending on who has time or whether we get new
The wrong
technology.
button. I want a sprint
or
boost there.
Various different things. But there are a lot of things that players suggest that go on that list, and the fact we haven't done them immediately doesn't mean we don't think they're a good idea. It just means there's a dozen years worth of stuff in the rest of the list.
Of course,
No.
by the time you get to the end of that list, there's still going to be another dozen more years of stuff.
Exactly.
No, come on.
Yeah. It's also what resources are available are often a factor.
If we can get it just a little bit further, most of these
certain
things will
resources
leash or
overlap.
go away.
You're not going to be able to do two of those.
Just
two
need
of
to go
those
just a
things
little bit
the same year,
further.
for example. So sort of.
And then we can deal with the Reapers and stuff that chase us.
Last question I have for you guys is, hey, we made it to Feywild. What can you tell us about what's coming next? Mr. Magic kind of specifically was asking about maybe an update on the continuing enhancement pass work that's been going on for a while.
Stillstar and I, we have a lot of plans. Some of them are on paper, some of them are more theoretical. But for right now, we don't have anything specific to announce as far as like what we're targeting next.
And no offense, but I don't want to lead players away from Feywild. And honestly, with the Destiny Pass, people's sort of attention to improve trees is going to be focused on the later levels, and then we'll get back to the heroic classes again. Unless there's some exploit or some class that is in dire need that we can sort of give relief to small changes, chances are you're going to see a lot of focus on Epic Destinies and not as much focus on heroic for the time being.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us, guys. Anything you want to say about Feywild or anything else on the way out?
I'm just really proud of us. I think that we did a really great job, and given the circumstances, I think we nailed it. Like, it's a 3-point shot from the half court, and it really seems like we sunk it. I'm really happy.
In order to give a pat on my developers back, because this certainly doesn't reflect on my personal skill. But keep in mind that all of this has been done while they've had to organize remotely in order to be safe. So it's all the more impressive of the stuff that they're delivering, because there have been challenges in moving remotely, continuing that communication, keeping all the team communicating. That is an ongoing thing that we're looking to improve on and get better at. But I just wanted to give a shout out to the devs for doing such a good job of navigating that, doing that, and providing, like fun and enjoyment to the players all year, because I think that's an important thing to acknowledge.
And then maybe just really quick, on our way out, where can people access Fables of the Feywild in-game so they can go check out this fun new stuff?
Sure. You can go to the Hut from Beyond. It's in the Stormreach Harbor. If you have the Fables of the Feywild expansion, then you'll just click on the portal there, and you'll be on your way.
Alright, so thanks for watching, and we hope you really enjoyed this. If you want to send any questions for future Acid Devs, you can do that by leaving a comment or just emailing didocast@gmail.com. You can also ask these fine folks questions on the forums. You may or may not get a response.
All right. That kind of covers everything that I was looking to look at. Again, I don't know. Every once in a while, I'd like to get more in the habit of checking out DDO Cast, just making sure that I know what's going on. Sometimes it's easy to get tunnel visioned into what's going on with what you're doing, and it's hard to look at the bigger picture of things. And for me, DDO Cast is kind of that excuse that I have, or that window into seeing what other people have an opportunity to look at and observe and understand. It's kind of similar to how the hardcore server really reopened my eyes to some of the difficulties that the non-hardcore people, or the non, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a real ass. The people who don't play DDO for 40 hours a week as a stream all the time, you know what I mean? Like, reopening my eyes to the people who have those struggles. Kind of get the hang of it. Trying to rebalance, right? To get a better appreciation of all levels of the game. And Cookie Crisp? Slay Living? Nope, not Slay Living. Just bird him then. Does it mean a bird too? Alright, well then never mind. I guess we'll just hit this guy forever. So it kind of gives me, it's another access point that I can hit every once in a while to try to reconnect with people that I haven't been to for a while. The ones who play it every day somewhat the ones who play it every somewhat to the ones who play it for a living. Yes, exactly. Well, and there are people who there's people even in my guild, right? Like Tobrel, Distributed, they're on a level that I am not on, in the sense that they like to spend their time at the very tippity top. They like to push raids. They like to, you know what I mean? They do things that I don't really love, but they are my connection to that part of the game, right? So I can always ask them about something. But I don't, and I have some guildies who are on that other side, but because I don't see them very much, I don't interact with them a lot. We're not always on the same timetable, or they just physically don't play that much. So I might think of a question to ask them or talk to them about, and then I may not see them for 3 weeks, and then it's like, oh, I wanted to ask you something, but I have no idea what it was or when it was, or You know, that's just all gone. I think we're gonna have to shrine. So my anchor to different parts of the game and the different player base is not as strong as some other. So, but I try my best. I'm like Lessa used to be a really good anchor point for me back when we were doing DDO cast, and she used to make fun of me essentially for being an elitist. And I remember thinking, am I an elite? Like, I don't feel like an elitist. Right? I didn't feel like an elitist. I didn't like. For me, there are people that I thought were even more elite than where I'm at. And then when I started thinking about it, and especially with the the hardcore servers and retouching base on people, like there are people that I would have considered an elitist that just took a character to level 20 on the hardcore server by doing hards. Right? There are people on that struggled and really leaned on me as their resource to get 1750 favor on the hardcore server. You know? And when I'm sitting there going, alright everybody, we're going to go to Reaper 1 on the hardcore server, first life characters. People are like, why? And I'm like, what? This is, like, there's 4 of us. We'll find 2 puggers and we'll go. And if not, I'll use a hireling and you can use a hireling and we're good to go. But the mindset's different. And it took that kind of thing to re-shock me back into reconnecting with stuff. So DDOcast is hopefully, if everything kind of works, is going to continue to be one of my resources to continue to stay reconnected and regrounded with that part of the community. And by no means does that mean Patrick's a casual or anything like that, but a lot of the data that comes through DDOcast is data that's interesting to all levels of players. And that's what I'm trying to stay connected with. Let me rub my eyeball real good. Alright. So, I definitely feel like I need to have a long conversation somewhere where the devs can hear it about the augment changes. Because I think some of the bone throwing they gave by getting things up to date with the Cannith crafting system, I feel like that is a really good step for people in the right direction, for people who are below level 20. Probably also for people who are post level 20. And I understand the answer that they didn't want to make it, or why they didn't want to make it scale. I personally disagree. I think it would have simplified a lot of their life. But I get it, and I can respect that option. So, it's not a big deal. But I still feel like most of the augment work is done in the idea that it is for the in-game people. It's for the people who are not level... the people who are level 29 or 30 or whatever, and they're doing the raids. And I have no problem with that at all. I feel like eventually most people get up there and they do stuff and they get to level 30 and they do whatever it is that they do. And obviously that is pretty great. But I also, at the same time, I feel like there's certainly a large portion of the population that would appreciate some low-level bones every once in a while, something a little more than what we're getting. I feel like it's very easy to get left behind in that world right now. So the more I've been thinking about it, the more I've been talking about it, the more I've been refining this idea. And it's something that I definitely need to get out there in a way. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably record like a little miniature rant video about it, and then I will... Did I prepare heal? I feel like I prepared heal. No, still no heal. Why do I not just have heal? Okay. I think I should prepare heal. Hey! Peace out.
Oh, I'm so tired.
Get some sleeps. But, I certainly feel like, we need a little bit of a bone. And I think that bone should be twofold. I think that we should get some of the various interesting armors that are named, but they don't have slots already. They should add a colorless slot to some of those miscellaneous armors. Right? And you could add other slots to them as well. I don't think it matters that much, but I think adding a colorless slot would be at least initially in the right direction. And I think for set bonuses, right, especially a lot of the low level set bonuses, what you should do is you should take get a full set, put it in a cruncher, crunch it, and then you can put that item into something, and it'll gain that slot, that property. But the catch is that you have to make it only one piece of the set bonus can be fulfilled by the gem, by the augment. So say you need a 3-piece set from Ravenloft, and you make this happen, and you this button, yeah, that button. So you take it, you got a 3-piece set, and now a person who's like, man, I really want dragon armor, it's going to be awesome and really cool, and it doesn't mean anything. You know, you don't want to use it now because you don't want to break your Ravenloft set or your Sharn set. And I feel like it's one of the things that I personally feel is really disappointing with what's going on. Plus, I feel like things get really awkward in the sense that you're a lot of people, excuse me, sorry, because the Sharn sets in particular for so many builds are just so good that it's very easy for people to get locked into a Sharn set while leveling in the post-level 20 world. Which means that there's zero chance that people are going to get in there and take advantage of anything but the Sharn set. So you have stuff all the way until level from 15 to 28 that's getting completely ignored. Right? So that's not fun. So why not have the capability to move like your armor slot and still continue to have that set? You still have to use 2 other pieces, right? If it's a 3-piece set, or 1 other piece if it's a 2-piece set. But I feel like it would give a little bit of flexibility to things. And I don't think it would be that hard to add a colorless slot to a lot of items, especially if you had to like go to a slaughter person, put something in, and it adds a slot. And I think you could do it without having to have a recipe. I think you could just make a function that adds a slot to it if it doesn't already have if it has no slot. There's no slot at all. You can turn it into. You can add one, a colorless slot. I really don't feel like that would be that complicated of a function. I could be wrong. Maybe it would be really, really tough. I don't think so. I think I just want to keep taking action boost power, actually. A 20 point action boost, and then a 30 point action boost. So we put this here. We'll still need to spend one more point someplace else. Or, 2 more. Yeah, if we make this one more, we'll still have to spend one more point someplace else. But to get to 10, or to get to the 20, so we can take this. So I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly, but if I do read this right, it says Blur is added to your spellbook as a level 2 spell. In addition, you permanently gain the benefit from the effects of the Blur spell. So I understand why you need it to be added to your... I guess it lets you cast it on people. But you permanently get the Blur and a 10% sacred bonus to your maximum hit points. That seems really good. So I definitely want to go ahead and pick that up. I didn't think it was that good when I was like skimming. Like, oh, whatever. Blur spell, +2 armor class, light spell power, whatever. I'm like, wait a minute. What's this sacred bonus to maximum hit? Oh, so good. So I think this is the big reason why I'm shifting over here instead of over here in the Mystic Tree. There's a couple of things in this Mystic Tree that I would like to pick up. Like, I'd love to pick up Quick Strike. I'd be pretty good at picking up a little bit of extra damage. I would not be really opposed to picking up this hit points in here, I think. So there's some things that I could understand picking up along the way in this tree, but there's so much of it that's just not good enough that it makes no sense to me. Alright, have fun walking your dog. I don't know. I wanna level. But I don't know if I'm gonna stay on too much longer after we level. I mean, that's the purpose of a bonus stream, right? It's a bonus. It's not... No one's expecting a 7-hour stream or our 11th hour. Hey, look, this Aboran decided to come out to play. I want to grab these fragments here. We're going to insta-kill the first guy. No, we did not. This is one of the things I was talking about earlier, where we're so in on enchantment DCs because of this. Because of the Howl of Terror, that some of our other DCs are not as good by comparison. I'm estimating this thing's roughly in the 50s now, where Slay Living is at 39. That is a significantly lower difference. Stop. That's a nice crit. 500 something at level 15. That is a meaningful. That's a meaningful amount of damage. All right. On the 7 key. Make sure that stays on. On the 7 key. Actually, I think I'm just gonna use the good old-fashioned tuning fork. Yeah, the good old-fashioned tuning fork for a minute. It's possible that I want to be using something else long term, but we'll see. Let's have the bird get these guys. I don't want to be all stinky. This should be fine. We should have Ghost Touch on our cloak now, I believe. So we should be fine for beating up Reapers and everything like this. Did I? Oh, I didn't actually. I clicked the bucket, but not the poo. Hinks. And because I clicked on it once, I can't click on it anymore. Well, great. Well, that's more than just a little bit of experience points lost. That's really wonder if I should just shrine and reset the quest now. No, we'll do it. Welcome back. I think I might take a break when this is over, which is fine. We have a nice long time. Demetrius, welcome. Thanks for hitting the stream today. Thought I'd get across in time. I was wrong. Alright, what are you? Told me for a second, but I didn't get to see it. Oh, he died, so must not have been a bad one. Come here. Don't you run away. Oh my gosh. I need him to stand still just so I can hit him. He's doing a great job of staying, ducking and jumping out of the way. There we go. Now we should get him. That may not seem that important, making that switch, but sometimes it doesn't upgrade on its own. So if you have like plus 10 before and you drag it down there, if you don't manually tell it to change to the 20 when you spend the extra point, and I did not, I have found that you might continue to use the old power. Make sure that we had that upgraded. I am going to go ahead and shrine. It's probably not necessary, but doesn't take that much. Sorry. Doing the thing I shouldn't do because it's just going to make me mad. I'm looking at Twitter. But I need it. I need my fix. How am I supposed to get angry without looking at Twitter? Oh, the ultimate catch-22. How can I have righteous injustice and righteous anger? Question, you're thinking about a Dragonborn character. What class should you go with? Dragonborn's a great class, or race in general. Because it's strength and, I believe, charisma, that means paladins are exceptionally good. There's no strike-through in the race, I don't think. But it does hit both strength and charisma-based stuff. You also have access to wings if you have a few points to put into your racial tree, so you can get a racial abundant elite type effect, so that's really cool. Also, because it is kind of like, I mean, it is again strength and charisma, which means you can use a charisma based class like a cleric, or not a cleric, I mean a cleric is a charisma based class sort of, but like bard or sorcerer, I guess even a warlock too, right? Warlocks can use their charisma for things. But the great thing about using it as a warlock is it gives you an extra way to tap into some racial spell power and some extra spell or extra boost from having a high spell power. So like you can do, if you do a Sork specialty, say like fire, for example, in a matching or corresponding race color, so you could do like a red or a red dragon, dragonborn, and have fire as your racial coloration or not only do you get some racial spell power, but you can also pick up an attack that uses that spell power early, i.e. the Dragon Breath. Some people don't like the Dragon Breath because it's not the most efficient, but I've seen quite a few people use it. I had a lot of fun using it on my Sork life. So it provides something that you can't always get. So I would look at Paladin or Sork first, and then my second tier would be Bard. I think Bard or Warlock would go in my second tier. After that, again, you can get some value out of some of the other things like druids or any of the other spellcasting classes. You could do like a fire wizard or a fire cleric and be red again and be okay. I don't think you're gonna get as much value as you would by being a Sork or one of those other four first. Can you have a Warlock Eldritch Knight? Not unless you multi-class. Which you only need 5 levels of Wizard, or I suppose Sorcerer, to get your tier 5 Eldritch Knight tree, if you want it to be an Eldritch Knight. The other cool thing is if you happen to have the new Fey Wild. Uh-oh, we gotta turn this down. I was busy talking. Are we gonna die? We might. We probably are. Running my mouth. Heal? Nope. Wow, we took 290 from something. Probably her gaze. What was I saying? Oh yeah, you can only have you only need 5 levels. So it still gives you 15 levels of Wizard to play around with. Which is plenty. Oh, I guess it's possible that guy got us too, right? I think he just randomly reached out and hit us really hard. We have a minute. Okay, we're down to 40 seconds, but if we're very fast, we can clear this without needing more time on the clock. But we do have to be very fast. I don't think we're gonna make it. I need this to land. Alright, we got it. We're good now. Wow, that could have gone real bad. Oh, we died again. Good old Gibbers doing Gibbers things. Get Ellery out here, get her healing us up. Get the Bard out here too. I haven't played with him a whole lot yet. But I think the 2 of them should heal me up pretty quickly. If they're both paying attention. Looks like they want to go fight. Alright, I'm going to reshrine all my stuff back. I'm curious if the bard is actually getting any damage done through the floor there. But anyway, if you have the what is it called? The Fey Dark Illusionist tree, you can take charisma to hit and damage. So it does give you some early opportunity to make your charisma stat your main damage stat as well. And you can have a pet dragon. Who doesn't want a pet dragon? Obviously I don't want a pet dragon. I have a pet bird. I think he's around. Rip. Poor guys. Poor guys. We deal with our mistakes yet. There's that Medusa we didn't get at the beginning that we should have. I don't think I can fix this Medusa poison. I can't. Alright, now the rest of this should not be that big of a deal. Apparently, she's not a construct, everybody. Keep that in mind. Oh, good. Did I not get that Medusa either? Or did we get extra Medusas because I missed one? Because of a bug. I don't actually know how that works. Wow, we're getting crowd controlled hard. I didn't think our... I guess that's an Irresistible's dance. Alright, let's crowd control that guy for a second while we... excuse me? There we go. Get healed up here for a moment. Alright, well I'm gonna assume we're gonna have to deal with a third Medusa. No? Did I not trigger another Medusa somewhere? Must not have. Must have missed a Medusa. I don't remember missing a Medusa. Alright, we're at the wonder what I did on this puzzle too. Not my run today for sure. Shh, don't tell anybody we're behind this cauldron. They'll never know. While we're at it, let's get game noise back up and the DM volume back up. Told you they'll never know. What did they do? Is that it? Is this the one? Oh, they messed it up real good, didn't they? Here we go. Let's get him here. Nope. Oh, we got it though.
The lights on the floor go out.
Alright, and since I don't really care about
Cutting off further
whatever and we already died, I'm just gonna activate my
Mission is a
D12 and
success.
just get out.
The few remaining stragglers pose no threat to Cendric.
Man, I punted that one real bad. As soon as I didn't get the poo in the water, it threw me off for the whole quest. Let me right on tilt. Really care? I don't really care, but it's fine. Domain spells. I'm the master. I gain +3 to hit and damage in armor class against chaotic creatures. Okay. So anything chaotic gets a thumping. Gotcha. I cannot mess with my twist because I hit the wrong buttons. Curses. Alright, well unfortunately I do think that was going to be my last quest. I normally would go much later into the evening, but as tonight is a bonus night, I'm gonna lay down and watch a movie or something. My head is starting to bother me, and I don't like it. So, and instead of trying to like push through by letting myself get really obsessed with the game and try to like go deep into it, I'm gonna jump out of here. So, hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I don't know who else is streaming at the moment. If anybody else is streaming DDO at the moment. No, it says there's 30 people, but I think a bunch of that's other people playing pen and paper. We have Stereotype Steve and Herr Wolf playing for Extra Life. I don't know either of these people. It says that they're both English. One is a adventurer gamer, amateur photographer, infosec guy, scuba diver, world traveler, autocross. The other guy says internet meme, self-proclaimed nerd, gamer, technology nerd, meat smoker, BBQ, D&D fan. My blog says Samus Garobo, DDO player and hero of the people. Well, some people somewhere maybe, question mark. Yeah, I feel like that's very much more representative of me. So anyway, check out some of the other DDO streamers. I'm not going to raid or host any of these people because I don't know who they are. Maybe they're up to my stuff and maybe they're not, but I'm gonna have that lay down and watch a movie. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. if I get a chance to do a bonus stream again tomorrow, it'll be another short bonus stream in the evening. I've been working on the bus, and I guess why you guys are here. Let me show you a picture and bounce an idea off you guys real fast. Hang on a second. So I've been looking at different options for building a ladder to go up to. Do I have a picture of it on the school bus? Handy. I'm sure okay. So right here, I want to put a ladder of some sort, and I pretty much need it to go between the metal stud that's right here on this window, and basically the metal stud that's right here on this window. Okay, so I do want it to. I have so I have those two studs here. Those studs, I believe, basically all go all the way down. And then if I have to, I can put something up here through the studs at the top of the bus. So I could put mounting points here, 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 here somewhere, and then down at the bottom. So I can have a bunch of mounting points if I need to. Okay. Now, I was looking at some stuff, and I have a friend of mine who is becoming a professional welder, would like to open up his own weld shop, etc. But he currently does not have the ability to like weld together aluminum. And we went to look for square metal tubing today, and 1-inch square metal tubing is like $30 for a 6-foot chunk, and we need at least 3 8-foot long chunks, and so on and so forth. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. So we've looked at some other options today. We looked at using like fence, like regular fence aluminum, and either welding it up or attaching it. But then we were looking around for the metal tubing at some other places, and I found 2 already welded together aluminum gate, like doors, like gate doors. And I started thinking, and they're like, I think they're $50 a piece. I was like, oh my god. So why not a rope ladder? I don't want it to dangle off to nowhere land when we're driving. I want it to be something that's hard fixed while we're driving. But I'll get to that in a second, Alpha, because I think we're thinking similarly. So I kind of like the idea of buying these 2 gates, and then potentially mounting a chain up here in a couple of places. You know, just like drill a hole, put a bolt through the chain. So I have a couple of different points for the chain to distribute the weight as you yank on it. And do the same thing down here. So the bottom can flip up, right? And flip down and fold down. And that way it will swing, and I can fold it up. And if you notice right here, there's already metal things with the chain in it that I could use to latch it and lock it into place. So when we're driving. So we could fold up, lock in when we're driving, and I can unfold it and put it down. And this way I also don't have to worry about people like getting up on top of the roof when I'm not around. Or at least less worried about it. I don't know. I like the idea. The disadvantage is that this is wider than that window by a good margin. So I'll have to figure out how to mount it, probably on the actual, on the rails. I don't know. I think it'll be cool. It's already painted. It's already intended for outside use. I would have to do a little bit of work, I think, if we're going to hook them up with the chains like that on the inside. Yeah, that's just it. I'd have to make some sort of bracket that came out and mounted it on anyhow. So that's not that big of a deal. Like, we'll still have to probably get some sort of relatively thick angle iron or build our own brackets for it to mount onto regardless. But it's something I'm kicking around. If I ground off these mounts, or even if I left them, it's possible just to do some other stuff as well. I don't know. It's something I was thinking about, instead of having just like physically mount some other stuff right there instead. So that's something I'm kicking around this weekend. And then if you're really excited, this is going to be my Instagram post for today. I haven't done one in a while. I haven't actually gone out and worked on the bus in a while. But this may not seem impressive to everybody else, but I have never made a this chipped right here. I knew it chipped, but I didn't realize it was so noticeable at that level of zoom. But I have never had two 45-degree angles actually come together and make a nice joint like that before. Never one time. So yeah, I think the box now looks really nice. There's my sexy foot. People always going on about one of my feet in the. There you go. That's it. But like, I think it looks good. Like, it's nice. It's straight. Let me see if I can find it again. An older picture. I didn't have it closed in before, so you could see all this. You can look inside, etc. So yeah, now it looks good. So I don't know. Also, I didn't take a picture or post on this, and I probably should have. This is a chicken fried steak, except instead of using like bread or flour or whatever, I actually use some of these Max Red Hot pork rinds. Oh man, that was great. That was real nice. I actually have several different Instagram posts that need to get posted over the next couple of days. Here's a pile of magic cards I gotta get sorted through. I took this picture and sent it to a friend because he needed a card from this Ravnica Allegiance box. I had to dig all this crap out to get it. I was very annoyed. But alright everybody, with that, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you have a good night. Like I said, keep an eye on the stream for tomorrow. I don't know if I'll have time to do a bonus stream tomorrow or not. But if I can, I'll be here. If not, I'll be back on Monday morning. 10 or 11 o'clock Central Standard Time for the lunchtime stream from 11 until 2. And then I'll be back in the evening, probably around 7 would be my assumption, but because that's what time we've basically been going. And that would be a few hours earlier than scheduled. So hopefully we'll see you guys on Monday. If not, I'll be back on Tuesday, and if not, Wednesday, etc., etc. All right, everybody, peace, much love, and we'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, Monday. Toodles.